Hey everybody, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Infinity PD, Jeremy PD again. Sergio, let's see. 1800. Morning, Sergio. Good to see you as always. Gayton, Merle, Eric, Larry, Francois, Dan, Robert, Maurizio, George, Donald, Brian, Kay, John, Wade, Ed. Man, good to see all my friends as always every morning. Jan, General Rush, good to see you, sir. Rex, W. Wong, Gary, Rick, Laura, Bob, JB, Diana. Good to see everybody. Hopefully you're happy to be here. Hopefully everything's going good for you. And well, NVIDIA taking a 16% drop off the highs. And is anybody here surprised? Please let me know. Please let me know. And there, you see my shirt I got on. And is anybody surprised about the 16% drop in NVIDIA? Let me know in the chat. If you're not surprised, also let me know in the chat. And well, look at that. Yeah, look at that cup. There's Kimberly, my favorite subscriber. today's gear brought to you by Rongamer. And I love it. Love it. Love it. Anyway, so we've got some excitement coming in the markets. Let's go right here. Looky here. This is down 16%. We're getting a little bump this morning. Look how far down it is to support. Look right here. Here's support. Right now. Ooh. How big of a correction could that be? Go off the high. Oh, gotta change tools back. Go back to the high. All the way down here. Look at that. 40%. Possibly as big as 45%. If we go to, look at this. Look. We can poke down just a little bit. Like a 45% correction. We could be a third of the way down so far. Now, corrections are not necessarily just straight down. All right. Be careful. We usually get some ups along the way. Coming down here, little bump and down. And this bigger one over here, we get some humps and bumps and green days on the way down. Be careful, all right, please. Could NVIDIA retrace much bigger? Absolutely. And if you weren't aware that this is possible, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the conversation. A long time now, I kind of, I don't know what you call it, predicted, I guess is the friendly word, that NVIDIA would become the largest company in the land and then get a relatively massive pullback, potentially. It doesn't have to do a massive pullback, but so far, JT's got it right. And just happen to get lucky sometimes. Please be careful. Please be careful. I got a special shirt on. It's a special shirt. We'll have more update later today on some other news. I'll make sure you come at 5 p.m. Eastern for 30 minutes of awesome. I've got some other interesting news, but little teaser on the shirt and the cup and my Morning Monster mug. And watch out. Got some news. So if you want to know what the news is, come back 30 minutes of awesome later today and find out. Anyway, 5 p.m. Now, before we jump into too many more charts, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. That means I may never get another thing right again. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. It is not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument at all. All right, no stocks, no options, no bonds, no forex, no futures, no cryptos, no treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. If you're not sure what you're doing, all right, even if you know how to push the buttons, make sure you have a good idea, a system in place for trading this stuff if you're going to do it. All right, high probability trades. Remember, it's not being wrong that costs you the money. Like high probability trades can be wrong. Like that, there's wrong trades all the time. There's a buyer, there's a seller, there's a winner, there's a loser. Every trade, but if you stay wrong, like if you're in that loser category and you're like, well, I know I'm right and I'm going to double down. And then you're like, well, I'm going to double down the double down. That's where staying wrong costs you the big money, all right? Don't stay wrong. It's not being wrong, it's staying wrong. Don't stay wrong. Because that's where you lose massive chunks of money. And that's, if you can just cut them and move on, and don't be emotionally tied to the trades. As Sledge always says, if you can sleep at night with the trade going to zero, it's very liberating. If you don't understand that, I convinced him that, and now he's like, oh my god, he's like, that's like his biggest thing. He's like, it sets you free on your trading. And if you desire personal financial advice, it's not what I'm doing. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. You need to hire and consult a financial advisor right there. All right. Yeah, it's weird seeing me in a shirt. Yeah. I don't usually wear many t-shirts. So anyway, glad to have everybody. And this is a teaser for things that might come later today. We'll see. Make sure you come back at 5 and find out what it is that I might have in store to tell you later today. Looking at the economic news for the week. It's a refresh to this week. Dun 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 dun. JT's birthday week. And, well, consumer confidence here this morning. We'll see this. This could be a little bit of market mover right there at 10 a.m. Right there. And moving on down. Tomorrow, new home sales, 10 a.m. Nothing pre-market. Nothing pre-market. We're seeing kind of a flat price action coming to the market. I commented in Discord. I was like, it's kind of boring and flat. It's really quiet, almost too quiet. And then on Thursday, final GDP numbers right there, unemployment claims, core durable goods, final GDP, all this fun stuff right there. Then we get pending home sales right there after the market opens. So potentially some market moving stuff on Thursday, and then definitely some potential market moving stuff on Friday right there, 8:30 in the morning on Friday. We get core PCE right there. Right there. Dum, 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 dum. And that'll wrap up the month. That's it. That's it for the end of June. And then we're on to July. New quarter. New all sorts of stuff. Now, interestingly enough, you want to stick around for 5 p.m. You want to come back. Make sure you set it in. It's 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll have some interesting information. Not just like my announcement, but I got some interesting information to share with you if you come back at 5. Like it's all tied together. So interesting stuff I've got to share with you about potential next quarter earnings. So it all ties together. We'll see what it is. I hate to be I hate to lead teasers, but come see me, come hang out. Or at least set it on your reminder to watch it after we're done, and come back and watch it and see what it is I'm talking about, because some interesting stuff we figured out, and potentially market moving information. So we'll see. But NVDA, I tell you, be careful. Now, why am I so cautious on NVIDIA? Look at this. Look, initial drop. We may see some chop, and then a bigger drop. Like, please, be careful. These things usually go exponential right up into the top, then exponential kind of right back down, and then we chop a little bit. We get that people just saying, oh, it just needs to cool off a little bit. We'll get that next rally, and then possible down here. All right, don't stay wrong through this whole thing. If NVIDIA's breaking down, don't stay long into a bigger correction, please. All right, it's your money. You can do what you want with it. Please. I'm trying to help you get ahead in life. Please don't stay long in the face of a bigger correction going down on NVIDIA. No FOMO, okay? Don't fear that you're going to miss out on further pop, and don't fear that you're going to miss out on a drop. Like, just book your profits, get out, or if you're wrong, you got in up here, you're wrong, take your lump, move on. There's plenty of other opportunity. We've talked about it, all right? We've talked about plenty of other opportunity. There's, I can name a ton of bubbles that you may not have ever heard of. Look, this one doing the complacency thing right here. Everybody said when we were here just a week ago that we were going to new numbers, possibly $24,000 on cocoa. That's like $24,000 a ton. Now we're back at 7,000. very quickly from 10,000 to 7,000. Watch out. This can break down much further. All right. Maybe like, well, I didn't even know Coco was being crazy. Look at that. Coco is crazier than NVIDIA. We could be back to 5,000. We could be back to 4,000 very, very, very easily. We could even come back all the way back to this zone where we consolidated right down here, right there. We could be coming back pretty swiftly on Coco, even in the face of a global shortage of Coco. Same bubble pattern. Oh, I meant to hit the compare button, not the figure. Look. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that. If you line it up just this year. Dun, dun, dun. Let me zoom it up. Pull it back over. Look how similar this is. Coco went crazy earlier than NVIDIA. On a percent basis. Zoom it up even more. Look how crazy this stuff is. Look at that. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? You don't think NVIDIA might come back down? I mean, they could go up one more. I mean, maybe we're doing this on NVIDIA. Do that. Be careful. Orange line in the background is NVIDIA. Coco on the front there. Be careful. Just saying. Please be careful. Look at this one. Look at that. Be careful on this one. This can come back down pretty hard and fast. All right. The bubbles are all over the place. These crazy moves. This one could come back down, but also it doesn't fall into the law of big numbers like NVIDIA. Like this is only 8 billion market cap. Could we double that pretty easy? And not even be a blip in the market? Yeah, we could. Abercrombie & Fitch has potential. We could double that. You know, we could be at $17 billion pretty easy, and it doesn't really affect much at all in the market. Now, why do I say that? NVIDIA here, we're at like $3 trillion. For NVIDIA to double, it takes $3 more trillion. Ooh. We go over and look at the, where is it? Infinite market cap here. 8marketcap.com. Refresh it to the current day here. Look, it's going to have to add the entire value of Apple or the entire value of Microsoft to its company value to go up and double at this point. Law of big numbers, all right? It takes a lot of money to double when you're at a big number. Much easier to just churn or go down. That's why the performance of Apple and Microsoft not as banging as it used to be, because we've gotten up to the point where to double their stock price, it takes moving from 3 trillion to 6 trillion. Now, the government keeps printing money and, you know, we keep inflating. No big deal. That's why when they get up to the big dogs, they tend to just float up there. Don't make huge moves. All right. That's kind of why it is. So if you want the huge opportunities, you got to look further down this list, much further for the biggest opportunities. All right. So that's why I bring up the point. A&F, how many times could they grow before they got to the $1 trillion mark? That's a lot. All right, we're talking like, what, 50x to be to 4 trillion? So it's got a long ways to go. I guess, what, 100x puts it at, no, 100x just puts it at 800 billion. So we're talking like, yeah, 200x potential to put it in the 1.6 trillion. So my math brain not working so good this morning. All right. S&P 500. Now we're open. Watch out for a bigger correction. We've hit some ideal targets. Could we push to 6,000? Absolutely. 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 Could NVIDIA go for that next high like I just showed on the Cocoa chart? So it's similar move to Cocoa. Absolutely. Could that push us up to 6,000? Absolutely. It's entirely possible. But we're at levels where I kind of said was an ideal topping place in the market. And so far, this will be the 4th red day right now. If we get another red day, be careful. If we start breaking support, watch out. Support right now, down here, where we consolidated back in May. Gosh, it seems like so long ago, but it was just a month ago, just a few weeks ago. We break below that, probably come back to the roadmap line. We get back to the roadmap line. That's where we were back here in April. We get below that, could go on a deeper, more sinister correction. And look, just in October, November, we were down here in the 4,000s. Could we go back down there? You betcha. Now, interesting enough too, we topped out right here. Oh, alerts. Oh, it's a target. Right here, late July through October. Where are we now? We're just about into July. We could correct from July through October again and echo this move right here. Another thing, potential in the market. We do this once again, right over here. Where would that put us? Right down in this 4,900 area. Same size move. Keep it in mind. All right. Keep it in mind. I'm just throwing out warnings. This thing's looking very overcooked, very overextended. The participation rate has been plummeting. This is stocks about the 50-day. We didn't get to the bottom yet. If we had gotten to the bottom, it would make me feel better about going on higher. But we can keep churning. This stock's about the 200-day. Prime example here. Look at what we did back here in 21. We topped out around April. We drifted off through the end of the year, in the beginning of the next year, before the market topped and set the all-time highs right here. This is, number of stocks. This is S&P stocks, percentage of S&P 500 stocks above their 200-day moving average. When the market topped out, we were down here. And then we went on a big correction and we went down here. Now it took us all the way to right here. I don't have an arrow drawn for funny reason, I guess. Right there is when we topped. In April of 24. So far, that's the high. The most stocks participating. If we drift off again, we could keep churning this all the way until January 25, possibly, where we make an all-time high in January, and then correction. So be careful, all right? Like, this is, the warning signs are great, but we don't know when it's going to start down the bigger path, all right? Can we go higher? Absolutely. Can we grind it on up while participation grinds down? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, this is not necessarily like we're rolling today. We're likely to get some sort of flash correction. Stay on your toes, all right? Don't think this has got to be the big one. I'm going to stay in all, like, make sure you book your profits on the way. That's during COVID. I was in and out a lot of times on a lot of stuff, all right? Got to book your profits when you got them. Roll it into the next opportunity when it shows up. There were up days and down days in COVID. If you don't remember, we can go look. It went fast, but look back here. Back down, in a land far, far away. Look, even during COVID, there were green days. Green, red day that looks like the wrong color candle. So there were relief rallies. But look, that was the roadmap bounce right there from below. And then we went on an extension all the way down. It's kind of crazy. It was all proportional in the charts. But we had green days. So it was like, book your profit, get back in, 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 maybe, book your profit, get back in. And then I lost a little money on the way back up because I expected it to drop a little more and didn't do it. Don't stay wrong. Don't stay wrong. All right. So there's opportunities on all these big drops. You got to book profits. You got to Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack books his profits and stays in the game. All right. Don't stay short, because these rips can be, I mean, could be this one. We didn't come back down. Haven't come back down ever since. All right. Hopefully everybody understands what I'm talking about. Hopefully. Let's jump back to current. And here we are. Up here. We have a long way we could go down. A long way. Please be careful. And looking at NQ. This is the NASDAQ futures. That hit some serious extension numbers way up here. Watch out for a bigger flush right there. RTY. We've bounced off the roadmap line once, twice, 3 times, 4 times now. Still not making higher highs. Watch for a breakdown below the support. There's banking problems brewing. A lot of those regional banks are tied up in this index right here. This is the Russell 2000, RTY. If you're like, well, what index is that? It's RUT, small cap index. How do you trade it? IWM right there. Watch for a bigger flush down below this support zone. Be careful. I say be careful a lot. I mean, I almost sound like a broken record to myself. Like, so please. I plead with you though. Like, traders love to stay wrong. I've seen it so much. I've seen it so much over the years. I myself included. Like, once I learned to stop staying wrong, and you know the other half of that though, you can stay wrong, but if you size your position so it can go to 0, and you not be hurt with it, that's powerful too. All right, it's that doubling down that really gets you. So don't like double down, triple down. Those are where, you know, adding to a losing position. That's one of the biggest. That's one of, you know, it used to be one of my biggest problems, and that's one of my don't do it rules for me. So you got to make your own set of rules. Like if you're a habitual double downer, and you look back at your trading log and you're like, well, those double downs are where I really start losing some money. It's important. It's important right there. All right. Is there an equal way? You go Google it if you want to. There's all sorts of extra products. I mean, there's like SRTY. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, just like there is for SPY. You know, Ultra Pro Short. You can go find tons of stuff in the Russells. I mean, there's probably like 50 ETFs, are, you know, in the Russell small cap stuff. So it really depends on what kind of exposure you want, and stuff like that. All right, what they're chasing. Look up who it is and how they operate too. You know, there's iShares, which is BlackRock. There's going to be Van Eck. There's going to be, you know, all the different players. And Merck sell. Oh, look at that, right to the target. Beautiful. Beautiful. That went right up there. Ka-chow. Beautiful. Oil. Yeah. That's right, Rick. When you talk about billions and trillions, you know, billion 31 years ago, trillion 3100 BC. Yeah. So that's seconds, you know. So it's definitely like it's eye-opening when you think about how long a billion is compared to how long a trillion is. So oil right here, popping back up, looking at the daily charts, just churning. We may need a little bit of retrace back to that roadmap line. Of course, we don't have to. We could pop right on up to the 618 before we do it. 618 is resistance at 83. If we can get above that 83 area, it's been kind of resistance for a while. We've got this right here. We've got this 618. Get above that resistance and that 618. We're probably heading on up here to 90. Right around 90. It could be 89, 90. And if we get above that, we're kicking it off the bigger resistance up here at 105. Right here. So oil, we got to get through. And it's almost like a ladder. We got to climb. We got to climb. We got to climb each of these resistance levels. The higher we climb, the higher it opens like the next level. You know, the next level is unlocked, and we can go higher from there. So this is like the biggest game in the world. Lots of money involved. Some people don't like to think of it as a game, but it's the biggest game in the world. And I guarantee you, the big players, they treat it like a business, but they treat it like a game too. Like, let's take some of your money and make it some of our money. That's what they do every single day. And they build computer algorithms. You know, it's. I should pull it up. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up and show you this. I didn't even think about this till just now. Let's see if I can find the game. There it is, right there. Look right here. This is funny. I have no idea who wrote this. All right. Welcome to the hardest game in the world. Unfortunately, you're playing with some of the sharpest, fastest, most intelligent, well-informed, stubbornly irrational, and in many cases, unethical minds in the world. You're up against the computer that can react faster than you, the trader who has more experience than you, the fund that has more money than you, the insider that has more information than you. And they can trade. As long as they don't tell other people, it's still valid information. The others that are going to misinform you, the inner voice, that's you, that's going to do its best to undo your inner thoughts and inner feelings and self-doubt, right? That is a psychological game. So leave all your dreams of making quick, easy money behind. The first aim is survival. Your absolute first goal is to learn how to stay in the game. And you can only do that by mapping the territory, understanding how the enemy thinks and acts, having a solid game plan, and by picking your battles very, very careful. Are you ready to play? Are you ready to play? This is the hardest game in the world right here that we're doing. It's exciting. It's fun. I love it. But it is the hardest game in the world right there. Gold still consolidating here. I'd love to see this break out. Definitely have an uptrend of lows. Very similar to this one. Very similar to this one. Little less steep than this one back here. This one and this one very similar. Could lead to a little bit push lower. We have that support right down here. A lower low right around 2280. And if we can break out through the downtrend of highs, the upside potentially up here around 2560, 2550, 2560, right up there right now. That's gold. So that's the long and the short of it right there. Short potential down here around 22, possibly even 2250, possibly even the roadmap line at 2200. So those are the downside targets, upside target up here around 2500. That's gold. I don't usually cover silver in the morning, but look at that. Rejected the breakout very similarly to gold. And roadmap line 2660. And the upside up here at 35, possibly even 40 if we get really sparky on silver. But not today. We didn't break out yet. So be careful. Don't run out of time if you're playing these. Bitcoin. Oh, man. Look at that. So freaking close. I was hoping we would touch yesterday, which means that we may see some softness show up later today. We may do another flush right down here. I was kind of thinking that we might have to do that on the futures. On the spot market, we definitely hit the roadmap line. Poked below, closed right inside for the day, and we're stuck in the middle. Could we flush on down, make a lower low than we made back here in May? Absolutely. Absolutely. Be careful. If we get down here, that's where we want to see it hold and rip out of here. All right. And this is also when I was like, I don't like how it's riding that trend line. And then we got below it. Like I was concerned that we would see a bigger flush, and I'm not sure we've flushed it completely out yet. Now we could be done, but I would feel a lot better about this whole sideways choppy garbage thing that we've done since March if we could do one more lower low right there around 56,000 per Bitcoin. If we can do that, let's get out of here. Let's do that and get out of here. If we hold here, break above, it's going to take a move up through these prior highs up here. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Right up there, we've built a heck of a line of resistance right up there. It's going to take a move above that to get us higher. If we can flush it one more time and then come back up with airspeed, that gives us a lot better chance to make it through and not come back for a while. Now, I do think in the next crypto winter, we're going to be right back in this vicinity between 60,000 and possibly 80,000 after we make the high, the high up around 150, possibly 300. somewhere in that 153,000, 300,000 zone. I think we'll make a high, and then I think we'll come back and visit this $60,000 to $80,000 area right in here. Probably sometime in 2027. Ethereum got freaking so close to 3,200. So close. Look at that. So close. I didn't buy anything. I feel like we could still flush. Now, the futures chart, not quite as clean as the spot market right here. Let's pop over. Look at the spot market. So, look at that. So close. If Bitcoin shows some softness today, goes for its lower target, this should touch in the 3,200 area right here. If we do that, I'm probably going to be looking to, and we have the hold, all right? We can't just knife cut and slice a hand off. We've got to dip in there, hold. I'll be looking to get some exposure, maybe with EHTU right here. Brand new chart, can't really do anything with it, but I may get some exposure with this one, a 2x leverage on Ethereum. Roll Caribbean, boom, to the target. DE, failed. Wah, wah. So sometimes they fail. DXY, jumping back up to the daily chart. If we can push through this resistance, it's game on. 106.87, possibly my bigger target that I've been talking about for like a year at 108.50. Seems like a broken record. These things sit out here, these zones. We're likely to go touch it. And right now we're upward biased because we're on top of the roadmap line. But we also have these levels down here that I expect us to go visit before long. Maybe next year, maybe longer. You know, this could take the rest of the year or certainly out into the fall to get up there, especially with the twists and turns. It could take us, you know, it seems like every move takes longer than I expect it to take. But we could be out there in December and then come down here next year. MSTR, be careful on this one. We came up shy of the roadmap line here. We did not get a large outsized flush yesterday while Bitcoin was flushing. If Bitcoin flushes more, this could accelerate right down to the roadmap line right there. Please be careful on MSTR. People are treating it like leveraged Bitcoin. I don't think that it is. All right. But hey, sentiment is sentiment. If people think it's leveraged Bitcoin, it's probably going to act that way. Don't doubt the chart. All right. Upside targets 21, 2200, possibly on up 2500. You may be like, well, how in the world can this get so big? Right. Well, look, we're just in the 25 billion area right here. This can double to 50 billion and it not really take a ton of money out of the market. I mean, NVDA gains and loses $200 billion and a few percent at this point. So this could double pretty easily if a bunch of people flooded into it. All right. Now, there are lots of warning signs on this. And look at this. People are saying that their regular business finances the Bitcoin. But look, that's earnings per share, -$5 per share. That's a warning sign. All right. That's not looking too great. Be careful. Their debt to equity getting a little crazy. Price to sales, definitely crazy. Anything over 20 is ridiculous, all right? That's a price to sales of 52. That's going to correct at some point in time. All right? Let's be careful. Price to sales over here, 39. That's double. 39 is double what's normal ones, you know, like 20 is crazy. Price to sales to 20 is pretty crazy in the market. Usually we see outsized corrections on things that have price to sales over 20. That's why NVIDIA, I'm like caution. That's why MSTR, I'm like caution. All right. It's not price to earnings that I'm concerned about. It's price to sales. You can't fake sales. You can fake earnings all day long. You can bake the numbers. You can cook them. You can do all sorts of things to them. You can't fake sales. If your company's got ridiculously small sales and your share price is ridiculously high, it's going to show up right there. All right. SMCI, much more reasonable for right there. But they're in an industry that's usually like 1 to 2 price to sales. So their sector usually hangs out in the 2. They're hanging at 4. I mean, look, even in years past, 0.29, 0.45, 0.5, 0.4 in 2022, and now we're at 1.9 in 2023, and we're at 4.7 now. Be careful. All right. Why is their price to sales growing ridiculously? They need to be growing their sales and then their price responds, but they're growing their price, and I think people are hoping their sales catch up. But when reality sets in, watch out for SMCI to come back to reality, and that's what we may have right here. All right, very quickly, we can slice that in half back to 400. Very, very quickly. NVDX is a leverage long on NVIDIA. Be careful. If NVIDIA drops, that's going to go pretty viciously against you. Leveraged stuff cuts both ways. Leverage longs cut leverage down when the underlying drops. RGS, well, that's a ridiculous chart right there. Ridiculous pop. Still a downtrend of highs. Still a big downtrend. Had a reverse split, so it's essentially a dumpster fire. All the makings of a dumpster fire right there. Be careful. TM bouncing up, potentially going to hit the roadmap line before the next extension lower. If we do a next extension lower right there, puts us right in the ballpark for the bigger correction. Now, could this be the bottom and we go ripping off from here? Absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. But the bigger chart pattern looks like it would be better if we dipped on down here. All right. FNGU, that's a 3x leverage on FANG stuff. And that would be indicative of fully cooked on the upside. And we may see a correction back down here to the 300 area. NVDU, another leverage long on NVIDIA. Watch out. Leverage cuts both ways. I'm going to sound like a broken record because these keep popping up here. USD, that's ultra semiconductors. These ultra pro. These are like, 2x. Let's see. That one says 3x. They have like this lingo. Like if you pull one up and it says like ultra pro, ultra, all that sort of stuff, that usually means it's leveraged in some way, somehow. Be careful. This thing can come right back down pretty hard, pretty fast. NNE, nano nuclear. Now this one's probably gonna do some sort of exponential pop and then come right back down. That's the nature of these things. We're gonna do some sort of crazy. I mean, it could. You never know where the top is. Could it be up here? Absolutely. And we hit the top, and then we do this, and do this. What does that look like? That chart right there. The bubbles are hitting hard and fast right now. Now, we go through these cycles where we have a bunch of bubbles in the market, and then we do some normal stuff for a while, and then we do bubbles in the market. And we were doing bubbles in the market back in 2021. Like things were just popping ridiculous. And then, they call it meme stocks. Meme stocks would pop ridiculous. So it's a little more widespread right now. Now, how do I chart this? I can't really because there's no roadmap line. There's no hit, like no significant price history. It's going to take me a while. We're going to be out here 169 bars before I can even draw the first little blip of a roadmap line. So be careful on that one. Coin, so close. Come on, just a little bit more. That's why I think if Bitcoin retraces just a little bit more down to that support zone, we're going to see coin flush down, lower low. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful opportunity, and major support down here around 140, 160. But we don't have to go that low. We could just go down here to 190, 200 area. I'd really like to see a dip to 195-ish, something just slightly lower than that low right there. Just a little bit lower. Hold that, start turning higher. Huge opportunity for upside. Huge, huge, huge. I mean, look, we could be looking at 530, possibly 670. Huge potential upside. But we need a good entry. You could be like, well, we should buy now. But it might go down to 140. Right? 215 to 140. Don't stay wrong. All right? Don't stay wrong. We could come down here. Don't just buy the dip. Wait till the dip shows that's going to hold as support. NVDA. Dun, 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 dun. Another leverage long on NVIDIA. Watch out for these. RMD. ResMed. So the news, I speculated yesterday that there was some sort of GLP-1 news coming out. Yeah, Lilly filed or whatever. I didn't read. I saw the headline and the synopsis, and I was like, duh. They got one of their GLP-1 drugs approved to treat sleep apnea. Boom, right there it was. I kind of speculated that that's what it was, knowing that ResMed is a sleep apnea machine producer, med specialty. So I don't know if it was approved or they applied for it, but Lilly gonna go after the sleep apnea market with their GLP-1 drugs. ResMed and other CPAP makers taking a big hit on that news right there. Now, is that news driven? I don't know. That still all looks like a correction and looks like it's a beginning of a bigger downtrend to me. That was a bubble up, working on the correction. This may be the cooling off before we get the bigger down. DJT. Bum, 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 bum. We did a bubble pattern. Potential to come back down. We're at the roadmap line. Could be an intermediate move, intermediate bump before we get another leg down. Next leg down could take us down in the 20s, possibly back down all the way right there. Now, could it go higher again? Yeah, you always can go higher. Just the pattern right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially a 5 flush right there. All right. NVDA. Watch, we're getting a little bump. That was 16% down. Remember what I said, we can get a few green days and on the way down to a bigger correction. We may bottom down here around 80, but if we don't, it could be all the way down at around 40 or 50. Think about that price to sales. Divide by 50 to get it back down to, I mean, whew. I have to almost cut it in third just to get down to something around 20. Be careful. If we lose 60%, oh, who said we could lose 60% before? Look where that puts us. Back to 50. SMH. Right there. That's a semiconductor ETF. MVO. Popping. That's that GLP-1 stuff I was just talking about. Lilly and Novardisk are the two. NVO and Lilly, two GLP-1 drug makers. That thing, these are probably going to defy logic for a while. All right. Their sales numbers, look, 600 billion, but we go look at the sales numbers, not over 20 yet. And look at these, 800 billion. They could become trillion-dollar companies. This one's pushing 22. So getting a little over the skis right there. Still staying in a reasonable spot compared to NVIDIA. This is staying right on the edge, right there between NVO and Lilly. They keep growing sales, price will keep growing. The 20x factor, all right? The more they grow sales, price goes up 20x, whatever the increase in sales. Makes sense, right? Moving on. ENVX. Well, that's a downtrend. Lower highs. Be careful. That could pop, but I don't have enough price action off the lowest low to indicate anything. All right. None of the fib lines, none of the, we have resistance up here. We have resistance at these prior highs, which is right where we are. Come across here. Look at all these highs right here. Look. That high, that high, that high, that high, that high, that high, that high. That's significant resistance. And last time we popped above it, we came up here at 22 and rejected down hard to a lower low. If we pop up here, find resistance, we could go lower low yet again. Let's look at that one. ZIM. to buy on the 30-minute. Zoom her up, Buttercup. That high, that low. Target right up there around 20.98. Not a huge move. And TSM. Back to the daily charts. Just churning. Support down here at the breakout point. You may see it retrace before we pop the 200 area. 200 would be a major resistance point right up there. 198, 200. MU. I was speculating we may see this return back to the breakout point before we push higher. 160, 200. Could go much higher. This one's still not extremely over leveraged either. Look at 8.49 on the price to sales. Only got like 150 billion, so we could double that pretty easy. 300 billion, double the share price pretty easy. The problem here, earnings per share negative, so their costs are a little out of control. I'm not usually a fundamental trader, but I'm pointing out some of the signs, all right? TECL. Man, probably coming back. 3X Bull. Connell. That one may dip down here. If we see this is leveraged on coin, may see this one dip in here while coin comes back to the roadmap line. BitX is leveraged Bitcoin. Right back to the roadmap line. Actually came up just shy of a lower low. So we may see that one dip right down in here before we turn and burn. Stuff that was actually declining pre-market. It's funny. Some of those weren't up big. Some of them actually turned down. Pool. I don't even think I've heard of Pool before. Well, that looks like a correction. It looks like almost like the bubble pattern, right? And cooling off and probably gonna go a little lower. That high, that low, that high. Potential to go down to 135. Right back there. SNX. Looks like we're coming back to the roadmap line. Nice gap down. Potential to come down here. Now that could be it. That could be all we need. It could be an echo of one of these prior pullbacks right here. A little bit bigger. Could be one of those, and we go ripping off again. Doesn't have to go deeper, but I would expect a roadmap line hit. SEDG continues to be weak, and we broke down. We broke down below the support zone from, what was it, COVID, I think it was? No, before COVID. Watch out. That one can rip on lower. That one could go out of business even. Be careful. BIRK. That's a big corrective move up. Watch for that to turn down viciously and come back down. SE. Resistance up here at 85. Support down here at 59. SBIT. Short Bitcoin. Nice pop right to resistance. If this holds, oh baby. Look at that. I drew that yesterday as like the potential to hold right there. And that's this ultra short, which means leverage short on Bitcoin, could be indicating that the correction on Bitcoin is done. All right. It's hard to know if the leveraged chart is telling the truth or if it's the underlying. So if the underlying needs to go lower, this will pop a little higher and then roll. But this is one sign, you kind of pros and cons. I went through this with my in-person event a couple weeks back. You go through pros and cons on things, like which way do you believe? Like this is if you are long Bitcoin, this is a pro. Turning down at the resistance on an ultra short is a pro for Bitcoin being done on this correction and turning higher. Now, does it have to be the sign that you believe in? No. This was just one piece of a larger puzzle as to where Bitcoin's headed next. MLGO, right there, popping through, reverse split, dumpster fire, quality stuff right here. I mean, look at this. Why would you want to get involved in something that does this crazy? Could you make money? Sure. Are you likely to lose a bunch of money? Absolutely. High likelihood you lose money. Boeing. Everybody wants to know, is Boeing done on the correction? Possibly. We held the perfect spot to go break out through the roadmap line, get higher. There's resistance here, support right down here around 160, 150, 160. So there's the support, there's the resistance, and the target. I'm kind of thinking we're going to see an outsized move, potentially up to 600 on Boeing. You'd be like, well, they're so far up their own rear that they're going to go out of business. Well, be careful. Stock chart will usually turn, potentially turned here, 6 months before the news starts turning on a company. So we potentially made a bottom back here. We're starting to work on it. I drew this big blue arrow right here back in December when we were coming up in this zone right here. And right down near the bottom. Be careful. I mean, sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes I get lucky. ENPH. Support right there. That 90 area. Support further down, 50 to 60 area. And if it can turn and burn, break through these highs here, we could go on up. Resistance up here at 200. Right now, I give higher odds to going lower because it looks like it needs one more flush. This all looks nasty and corrective, and we may need one more flush down to a lower low than 75 right back here. All right, bias for the day. Man, make sure you set your reminder to come see me this evening, 5 p.m. And bias for the day, still cautious. I think we're going to get a bigger correction. Go test this zone around 5,300 and then see if we can go higher. But if we break down on further, we could go down, touch the roadmap line, 5,000, or get something deeper and more sinister. So there you go, everybody. We'll see you later. Have a good day. Remember, it's your trading account, all right? Nobody's watching out for it but you. I guarantee you, even if you hire somebody, they're never going to have more vested interest in your money than you do. Learn this stuff. We'll see you later.